never met a man like you. Someone who made me feel the way you do. You took me and you made me feel you.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If I look slightly familiar, it's because I just shot an intro for the lookbook for these overalls that I'm wearing. So if you're interested in this look that I have on right here, I'll put the link for that video down below just in case you came here ad hocly and you're not subscribed to this channel. So you guys had asked me to do a tattoos and piercings video, kind of like a Q&A, kind of like a video kind of vibe. And I've been meaning to do this for a while now and I'm just getting around to it. So I have my notebook with like everything written down so that I don't like miss anything. Okay, so let's start with, I'm gonna start with tattoos and tattoos first and then piercings. So overall I have 6 tattoos and I have 14 piercings ad hocly on my body. So we're gonna start with tattoos first because I think that's where I started. Not sure. I'm not sure. So my very first tattoo I got when I was 15 years old while I was still in high school. Like I think it was my last year of high school, and it is a lower back tattoo, and everybody during this time was getting a lower back tattoo. It was the early 2000s. We were all getting lower back tattoos. It was all the rage. Everybody had one. Lower back tattoos had a very, very, very short lifespan. It's now known as a tramp stamp. And I never ever see it. You never ever see it because I don't wear anything too really short. I only wear high-waisted jeans most of the time now, so you don't really see it. I was inspired to get my lower back tattoo or tramp stamp, whatever you want to call it, because of my obsession with Britney Spears. As a lot of you may know, Britney Spears is my mother. I'm her child. And Britney Spears had a lower back tattoo. I think it was like a fairy. And I was just like, I want a lower back tattoo. Originally, I wanted the exact same thing that she had. Kind of like everybody's obsession right now with Rihanna and getting Rihanna's exact tattoos. I had that exact obsession with Britney Spears. I was very young. So I went to the tattoo shop, but the guy that worked there, he couldn't give me the fairy. So I always had this thing, like when I wrote my name, I always put like a smiley face. So I got a sun. Initially, it was just a flaming sun, and I went back the next day to get it colored in because it was just the sun by itself. And then I went back to get it colored, shaded in, and for whatever reason, I don't know why we didn't shade it in. I think I couldn't even be bothered to like go through that pain again. So he put a smiley face in the tattoo, which looking back at it was probably really stupid on my part. But like I don't really mind it because I don't really see it that much. I don't have a problem with the tattoo. That was my very first tattoo. I was the first girl at my high school to have a tattoo. Like nobody had one. Like it was like a very big deal. And then after I got my tattoos, several other girls got theirs, but let it be known that I was the first. My lower back tattoo is done on the lower part of my spine, and it used to have a time when it would swell up and it would hurt. That hasn't happened to me in like probably 2 or 3 years, but every now and again that tattoo would just hurt me for some weird reason. The tattoo itself would puff up and it would be very painful. And I don't know why that is. I've had like blood tests run on it, on that area, and I've had it checked out by a doctor and it's completely fine. I don't have any infections or anything like that in there. But for whatever reason, it puffs up and it swells and it's really painful. So that's one. My second tattoo was a butterfly tattoo on my lower, like the lower part of my stomach. If you guys remember, if any of you used to follow, like were friends with me on Facebook or whatever, you would have, like when I used to wear hipsters, you would see that tattoo all the time. You don't even really see it that much. It's fading a lot because when I just got that tattoo, I didn't take care of it. I just didn't really want to take care of it, to be honest. And so, yeah, so that's my second tattoo. My third tattoo was like, I want to say like 2 years later, and it's at the back of my neck, and it is a Chinese symbol, and it's for the year that I was born. And I'm going to show you all of these tattoos. I'm going to have pictures, so just in case. So I got that Asian symbol, I think it was like while I was going to UCC in Kingston. I got that one. And then my fourth tattoo, which is very, very special to me and very, very sentimental, A couple of years ago, my mom had gotten robbed. She was attacked by someone with a knife and she was stabbed like in her back, and like her neck got cut. Like it was like the person was stealing her bag with her phone and ended up stabbing her. It was like a moment in my life when I realized that any minute now you could lose somebody. And of course, I don't know how many of you know this, but my mom is very, very important to me. Like if I were to lose my mother, I would probably just kill myself, because what is the point of life? You know what I mean? So I got my mom's name tattooed under my, what arm is this? The left arm. And what's so special about this tattoo is this is actually my mom's handwriting. So my mom wrote her name on a piece of paper. This is how my mom writes. She writes in like cursive. She wrote it on a piece of paper, and I was in Miami with my girlfriend Tracy. We were in Miami for the weekend. We just come from the club, and I just stopped in a random tattoo shop, and I'm like, I want to get this tattooed on my arm. And he literally just transferred it and drew it back. So this is why this is going to be really special to me. I wanted to get my mom's name tattooed because I didn't want to like wait for her to die. And then I'm like, oh, I'm going to tattoo my mom's name in RIP. I wanted to get it while she was still alive because she got a second chance, and I just felt like I wanted to do that. That was symbolic to me. And I actually have the footage of like when I was getting this tattoo. I found it on an old external that I was digging through the other day. So that's that tattoo. The fifth tattoo I got was on my left hip side. It doesn't really show that often. It's a quote. Okay, so that tattoo is really, really funny. So I had just broken up with my ex, and literally like 3 days later, I went and got this tattoo. And when I just got this tattoo, like probably like 2 days after I got it, I was like, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? And then like after a couple months, I really fell in love with this tattoo, and honestly this is like my favorite tattoo. It's a quote that says, love isn't real. And like my friend Danielle is always laughing at this tattoo because she's like, why did you get that tattoo? But it's really, really special to me. I'm all over the place. That tattoo just reminds me of like the struggles I've been through and how much I've given myself to people and have just not gotten the same in return. And it's just a reminder to be selfish and to always look out for myself first. So it's really, really special to me, and it's on my lower hip, on my hips on the left side. My sixth tattoo and my final tattoo is this one on my right arm, and it's underneath again. Yeah, so it's underneath, but it's not going this way like the first one. It's going across. It's Proverbs 4 verse 23, and I actually have a video up on my YouTube explaining when I just gotten this. The first time I saw this proverb, a friend of mine had it on her WhatsApp. That's the first time I ever saw it. And I'm gonna put like the quote right here, what it means. What, like, cause there's two different versions. There's like the King James version, the New like there's a whole heap of different versions, but they all pretty much mean the same thing. And what it means is you have to be careful of who you let into your life, who you let into your heart, who you allow yourself to care about, who you fall in love with. You have to protect the affections of your heart, because everything you do and everything you become flows from it. So if somebody, like if you're in a relationship with somebody and they've hurt you so much, it pretty much is like a domino effect. It kind of turns you into the person that you're going to be in the next couple of years. So if you become bitter, it's always a series of unfortunate events. I don't know if I'm making any sense. I want to say, like right after my husband proposed, or I think it was right after we got married, I got it because I didn't want to forget. I didn't want to lose myself in a relationship. I just always wanted to remember what I've been through before and let it kind of guide me, if that makes any sense. So those are the tattoos I have. So I have a bunch of questions from you guys on Snapchat. I don't really remember the names or anything like that, but I posted it a couple days ago. And I wrote them down. So I have a couple questions that you guys have asked about tattoos. Somebody asked me if they are painful. I wouldn't say they're painful. I mean, as a woman, we naturally have a higher threshold for pain. If I could call the tattoo pain anything, I would say it's annoying. It's a very annoying pain that you forget immediately as the needle comes out of your skin. You forget it. It's not painful like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. It's more like an annoying That's the only way I can describe it, is that it's annoying. It's just an annoying feeling that is really bothering you. So it's not like pain-free, but it's not terrible. And as soon as the needle comes out, like when they're putting ink in it and they lift it back up, you don't even remember what it felt like. The pain goes away. So that annoying feeling of that needle goes away. And then afterwards, it kind of swells up a little bit. And then you have to keep, like, you can use a special balm. They actually sell those online that you can put over it for a couple days. Stay away from the beach. Keep it away from excessive sun. You want to take care of it. If it's in an area with, like, you don't want anything rubbing on it because you don't want it to peel before time, because that top layer of skin is going to peel away. So the tattoo is actually, it's going to be brightest when it's just done, and then over the years it's going to slowly fade depending on. I have my first 2 tattoos had colored ink in it, but all my other tattoos after that had black ink. I would never get another colored tattoo. It just, the ink on a colored tattoo fades way too quickly, and I just don't feel like colored tattoo is good for dark skinned people. Even though mine, they show up, I just don't like colored tattoos. So that's that. Somebody else asked, how do I feel about tattoos in the workplace? For me, I don't like to see tattoos. I don't like to look at a man or a woman, depending on, and seeing, especially women. Like, I don't like to see, like, looking at a woman and there's like weird tattoos all over the place. It's just not something I personally like. So whenever I was getting my tattoos, I always thought to myself, I want to get a tattoo where A, I don't have to look at it every day. That's number 1. Number 2, I should be able to hide my tattoos. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be really restricted to what I can wear. And if you see me in this right now, like, a regular person is not going to know that I have 6 tattoos and one of them being very big. You know what I mean? So as it relates to the workplace, I do think that depending on the job that you're in, I mean, if I go to a legal office, if I go to a law office and the lawyer that's defending me has tattoos all over, I'm probably not going to want that person to defend me. Not saying that they can't or saying that they're unable to. It's just, to me, I just don't feel like it belongs there. A rock star, an R&B artist, an athlete, yes. But I feel like in certain work, like in certain jobs, I just don't feel like you want them blasted all over the place. It's just a bit, it doesn't fit with the image of that, if that makes any sense. I know the world is changing and all of that stuff, but I don't like to see it. So that's why I've always gotten my tattoos in places, like if you notice I have tattoos on my arms, but they're underneath my arms. So I don't have to worry about like having to cover them up because they're under my arms, if that makes any sense. So that's the answer to that question. Would I get another tattoo? I plan to get another tattoo and making it 7, because somebody told me a long time ago that you're not supposed to have even number in tattoos, you're supposed to have odd numbers. I don't really know what that's about. And 7 is a number that has been following me for pretty much my whole life. So it's ironic that I plan to get one more, and I want to get my grandfather's name. I just don't know where I want to get it, and I'm probably gonna have my mom write it like she did with hers and put it somewhere. I'm thinking of probably putting it like on my finger or here. Like, I don't know. I know I want to get my grandfather's name. My grandfather's name is Joseph. So I want to get that, but I just don't know where I want to put it just yet. Okay, so somebody also asked me on Snapchat how I felt about guys having tattoos versus girls. Now, I've never dated a guy that has tattoos before. As you guys know, my husband has a massive tattoo on, what side of your body is that tattoo on, babe?
Left.
On the left side of his body. I'm not really like a girl that's drawn to tattoos, but he just has like this big one over here. It starts from here and it comes all the way to here, and then he has one over here. Pretty much. Would you say that your tattoos were painful?
The outline wasn't painful, but it was more painful when they were doing the filling in. Oh
yeah, that's another thing you have to think about too. Like when you get a tattoo, depending on what you're getting. So like just a little, like if you're getting a little hard, it's gonna be fine. Or anything that doesn't need a lot of shading. The shading is painful. The shading is painful, isn't it?
Yeah, that was what, because they just have to stay in one spot for like
to get the pigment
time, just to keep darkening it in.
Yeah, and his are really, really dark, and it's like it goes in his back too. So it took a lot of work to get it done. So I think that would have been painful. Plus I think the breast area was like your chest area painful near? Like where did you say
Yeah,
hurt the most? Like
really
here, like around the nipple area and the chest area, and like wherever you have bones hurt a lot more.
Even when they're 3 inches away from your nipple, it feels like they're digging into it.
Yeah, I don't have any near that part of my body, so I don't know. But like I remember when I was doing the one on my hip, that shading process, like they did the outline first, and in that shading process, you're just like, oh my God, like when is this gonna end? And then they have to go back, and then depending on like after your tattoo peels and it strips, you might have to do work on it. Like you might have to do a touch up because it might fade a bit after it heals. I don't know. Make sure that when you're getting a tattoo also, make sure that it's something that you thought about thoroughly and it's something that you really want to get. I always say if you're still thinking about it for like a year, do it. Like two of my tattoos, not like I specifically regret any of my tattoos, but if I could go back in a time machine, I probably would not get my first 2 tattoos just because I think that they're borderline stupid. Just because. Do you regret your tattoos, babe?
No.
He does. He just doesn't want to admit it.
I think I need to get them darkened again.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing is like, depending on you, like for my husband, for his job, he can't have his tattoos showing, he's not supposed to. So he has to wear like longer shirts, but his only stops to like above his elbow. So he can always just wear like the longer sleeves and like roll them up. So like I said, you really want to think about like what job you're getting into, what you're going to be doing with your life. And then sometimes I like the mystery. I don't like people looking at me and just knowing that I have a shit ton of tattoos. Did you know that I have tattoos when you met me? You didn't know, right?
No, I wasn't paying attention. I didn't see any that were readily visible.
When did you realize that I had tattoos?
I don't remember.
Alright, so now I'm going to get into my body piercings. So I have 14 piercings. My obsession with piercings started like when I was in high school. When I was in boarding school, like everybody was getting their ears pierced. We were like piercing each other's ears and all that stuff. So I have 3 piercings on this side of my ear, over here, and then I have 7 over here. So I have 3 at the bottom, and then I have 4 at the top. The irony about this situation is even though I have like 10, I've got 10 piercings in my ears and I only ever just wear 2. I never wear the rest of them, ever. Like even up here, I don't wear them. I only wear 1 on my right ear and 1 on my left ear. Don't ask me why. I had my belly button pierced twice. Again, that was coming from my obsession with Britney Spears. As you guys know, when Britney Spears pierced her belly button, I had to pierce mine because she's my mother and I'm her child. So I got it done twice. The first time I did it in Ocho Rios. I don't remember the name of the place. It's in that little plaza where Woolworth used to be, if anybody here is from Ochi. That little plaza where Woolworth used to be and Baskin Robbins used to be, and there was like a magazine bookshop over that corner. There was a place down on this aisle that was close to the beach. I think there's a hairdressing shop in there now. But back in the day, there used to be like, they used to do like piercings in there. And I went there to get my belly button pierced. And that back then, Google wasn't a thing. You know, Google wasn't around. And so there wasn't really any research that I could do. Google wasn't very popular. I take that back. It probably was around, but it wasn't very popular. And so she pierced my belly button with a gun. She shot it in with a gun, with a regular earring, a medicated earring that you would use in your ear. It was the most painful thing that I had ever experienced. And it didn't go all the way through. So she had to finish it with her hand. Finish the piercing. Let me tell you something. When I think back on that situation, I think to myself, we really put ourselves through some things sometimes. Some unnecessary things. So I did that, and then I had to like put alcohol on it every day, and she was telling me to turn it every day. Something about the piercing just didn't feel right, and the top of the earring was going into my belly and cut my stomach. Like it just wasn't the way it was supposed to be. And I remember like I was showing it to my godfather, and he was just like, okay, so this is not the way this is supposed to look, and that's not a belly button ring. Take it out. So I took it out, cleaned it, had it heal again, and then when I went to New York, I got it redone in New York, and they did it the right way with a clamping tool and a big needle. So they clamp your belly button, which is how they pierce every area of your body except your ears. Just clamp it down. The pressure from the clamp is so intense that you don't feel them piercing it. So if you're gonna get a piercing, you're not gonna feel them sticking you. It's gonna be the clamp itself that's extremely painful. Not extremely painful, but it's gonna be painful, and then they just pierce it. And I pierced it over the healed piercing, and that's what I have today. So I got it fucked up in Ocho Rios and then got it fixed in New York. The next piercing I got was I pierced my tongue. And I'll never forget the day. It was one day randomly after school, and I got my tongue pierced like really early too. Like, no joke. I had my tongue pierced before I lost my virginity. Like, almost all of these body piercings that I did and almost all my tattoos were very, very early on in my life. So that's why people had always thought that I was like kind of like a bad girl, but I really wasn't. So I remember I called my sister and I called my friend Shanata and I called Nika, and I'm like, yo, meet me in Halfway Tree. I want to go get my tongue pierced. And I did at Kim's. There's this girl that used to pierce and do tattoos and stuff in Kingston by the name of Kim. She migrated years ago. She was in that plaza. I can't remember the name. I think it's South Avenue Plaza or something. Her name was Kim. She had like a lot of tattoos and body piercings and stuff. And I went to her. She did a really, really good job. So she had me like wash out my mouth with Listerine. And I think the Listerine kills the germs and helps kind of like numb your tongue till you kept the name out for a little bit. And then she clamped it with the clamp and she pierced it. And that didn't hurt at all. Like, that was not painful. And I was like, I had to suck on ice for like the first week, and I couldn't really eat much because like my tongue was like kind of swelling, because when you pierce your tongue, it kind of swells in your head for the first time because you're putting something in your body that's not naturally a part of your body, so your body's trying to fight it. So I had to use Listerine every day, chew on ice, and just eat like really, really soft stuff. I'll never forget. So that was that. And then I got my nose pierced. I've had my nose pierced for so many years. I don't have it in right now. And every time I wear my nose ring, people ask me, oh my God, did you just do that? Because I don't wear it every day. So I had my nose pierced one summer. It was, like I said, this was early too. This was like a year. This all happened within a year after high school. All my piercings except the very last piercing happened a year after high school. So it was one summer, it was me, I was staying by my friend Shanine, and Rochelle was there, and I forget, everybody else was there. And Rochelle had her nose pierced, and it looked so good on her, and I'm like, I want to get my nose pierced. And she's like, I can do it for you. And you know when you're young and you don't really think things through, so she had like an earring in her ears, and she literally just took her earring, cleaned it, because she had a really sharp earring. Like one of them, no. I'm mixing up this story. Go back. It wasn't in her ear. She had a sharp earring. You know those earrings that have like the darts in the back? I think it's the one that they use. I don't really know. I don't really remember. But she pierced it for me with her hand. She literally just took the earring and pushed it into my nose. Like really, really quick. It was painful, but it wasn't like super painful to like where I would absolutely die. But like she just pierced it. Like she just took the earring and just pierced it, boom. And I've had it ever since. I never had any troubles with my nose. I never had any infection or anything with my nose. I never had anything growing on it. I know a lot of people who got their nose pierced and had difficulties with it, like they had like infections or something grow on it or whatever. I never had anything like that. Even to this day, I don't have to wear a nose ring all the time, and the hole is still there. I never had it clog up. I never had to re-pierce it. Nothing. And also I was like an expert when it came on to body piercings. Like everybody used to come to me for information. I used to clean my piercings with salt water, warm salt water, which is like the best thing you could ever do for a piercing. So if you're gonna get a new piercing or you're thinking about getting a piercing, warm salt water will fix you right up. So that's when I got my nose pierced. And then my final piercing, this is graphic information, so if you're touchy, click out of this video right now. So my final piercing was I got my I got somewhere else pierced. I don't even know if it's appropriate to say, but I got my down there pierced a very long time ago. And I was just walking around in Manhattan, just walking around, minding my own business, and we passed a piercing shop. This is usually how it goes in my life, just walking around randomly. And I was just like, because me and my sister at the time, we both wanted to do it. And I was saying, yo, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. And then if I'm gonna do something, I have to be the first one to do it, because if I don't do it first, I'm not gonna do it. So went into this piercing shop in Manhattan. I don't remember exactly where in Manhattan, and I remember it was a girl there, and I was explaining to her, and I was like, yeah, I want to get this pierced. Is it gonna be painful? And she was like, I think she said not really, or I don't even know what she said, to be honest. But so I literally went, and then like I sit in like a chair with my legs open, and I remember her looking to me, and she was like, I'm gonna clamp it with the clamp, you know, the little clamps that they use to clamp stuff. And she's like, one thing I'm gonna ask you to do is not to lock up your legs on me, because it can become detrimental. She's like, just whatever you do, don't clamp your legs. And literally it was over before I knew it. Like, it was like, bam. It was the least painful piercing I'd ever gotten. To be on a scale of like pain, I think the most painful piercings I've ever gotten, excluding my belly button that was done completely wrong, so I'm not going to include that, because when it's done the right way, it shouldn't hurt. The most painful piercing is my ears. When they shoot the gun through your ear to pierce your ears, that is the most painful. Like, none of my other piercings hurt like the piercing in my ears. Nothing. So that was my final piercing, and I did that like, I think I had that done 8 years ago. Yes, 8 years ago. So I've had it for a long time, and I haven't done any new piercings since. I mean, I've been thinking about getting some, but then I change my mind all the time. So that's pretty much all I have. I want to clear up some misconceptions that people have about that piercing. I've heard a lot of people say how it like maximizes sensation. I remember somebody telling me that somebody who every time she walked, she'd get an orgasm, blah, blah, blah. I don't know where people are getting that information from, and I can't even sit here and say if it's true or not true. But I don't know anybody who has it who says that it has an increased sensation. As a matter of fact, I feel like it has decreased sensation for me, not a lot, probably like by 10%, 15%, but I've lost some of it, not like major where you're just like, oh my god, woe is me, but I don't know where people get this myth from that it's supposed to increase sensation and make you just like this big Aphrodite. I don't know anything about that. I actually have another funny story about when I just got that piercing too, about when I went to get a Brazilian wax, but I'll save that story for another time. I'll probably share it with you guys on Snapchat. So if you want that story on Snapchat, comment down below. So those are my piercings and tattoos. So I'll see you guys next time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any further questions that you didn't ask, you can ask them down below. And bye.